Well, we're barely 2 weeks into the new year, and I've already had my first disappointing movie. Yay. Hi, my name is Ryan Lane, and welcome to my review channel. So for today's movie, I will be reviewing The Book of Clarence, directed by and written by Jeymes Samuel, and starring LaKeith, Stanfield, Omar, R.J. Kyler, David Oyelowo, and James McAvoy, and Benedict Cumberbatch. So, it is the year 33 AD, and our story takes place in Jerusalem with the big man himself, Jesus H. Christ, walking amongst the living. Anyway, our story follows Clarence, played by LaKeith Stanfield, and he, along with his friend Elijah, played by R.J. Tyler, they're in a bit of a nasty bind. They recently participated in a chariot race, which they entered with money borrowed from Jedediah, and since they lost said race, they have to pay the money back to Jedediah within 30 days, lest they, on account of not being able to pay it, are killed by Jedediah. Not being too keen on this situation, Clarence decides, after failing to become the 13th apostle, he decides to deceive people into believing that he is the Messiah so that he can raise the money to pay off Jedediah. And, since this is a movie and all, along the way while pretending to be the Messiah, he will actually learn what it means to be the Messiah. So the performances are surprisingly subpar in quality. LaKeith Stanfield gives an uncharacteristically poor performance as Clarence, an atheist who's learning to believe. The script fails to give Stanfield three-dimensional characterization to work with, and his usual, sort of low-energy style delivery to the material doesn't do the character any favors. Anna Diop is given little material to work with as Clarence's love interest, and David Oyelowo, he is less than impressive as John the Baptist. Not even the combined forces of James McAvoy and Benedict Cumberbatch in third act cameos can salvage this material. So the writing is subpar and lacking in energy. The film's pacing is so painfully slow, like individual scenes take way too long to go, and especially near the third act when it's like the pacing just goes to a snail's crawl. It's like, okay, come on, we all know where this is going, get to it already. It's not nearly as, I've seen films with far worse pacing, but still, Book of Clarence has some pretty bad pacing. The supporting characters, the relationships between them, and the supporting characters themselves are thinly written. Clarence's relationship with his apostle brother Thomas, also played by Stanfield, and his relationship with Verena, played by Anna Diop, is cliched, and it lacks interesting developments. Like, it starts off with a little bit of interesting backstory, but doesn't flesh things out. Like, again, Clarence's beef with his apostle brother Thomas is over the death of their mother, but there's nothing interesting to it, and the film's attempts at a humorous relationship just falls hard. Clarence's his character arc, it also feels unearned, because at one point, about midway through the movie, Clarence is given a stern talking to from his brother about how what he's doing is wrong, and he just, like, right then and there, just 180, he goes full Mary Magdalene and decides to free slaves, which, not bad. I mean, he should, but it just doesn't feel earned. It feels so out of character. It feels like we would have needed quite a bit between, getting the stern talking to and then freeing the slaves. Again, like I said, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, just I don't believe that he was at the point in the movie where he would do it. The writing also proves, I will say this, the writing does prove to be insightful when when analyzing Christianity through the lens of race, but this dynamic doesn't prove to be compelling or humorous enough as the movie clearly wants it to be. So before I critique the humor, I will acknowledge that as a stereotypical nerd so white I don't even put mayo on my sandwiches, I will acknowledge that some of the humor would have gone over my head. That being said, I don't think this film is very funny. I can certainly see how, people look at the script and think, yeah, this is a banger. We should make a movie out of this. Because, there are several moments throughout the film where I was thinking, okay, I should be laughing, but I'm not. It's just, something of how the film was shot and the comedic timing, it just renders all the humor comedically inert. Like, for example, at one point, there's a character, he's attempting to smoke a blunt, but instead of using a lighter, he's using more primitive means to do so. That should be funny, and yet the film kind of just, by the time you can barely see it, you don't have enough time to laugh at the gag, and I feel like that can kind of be said for a lot of the gags throughout the movie. Every now and then the film does come up with a decent gag, especially one involving Benedict Cumberbatch, but otherwise the film is pretty laugh-free. The auditorium I was in was practically silent. So, though it's not without impressive production value, the Book of Clarence fails to take advantage of its creative premise due to poor direction and sluggish pacing. So with all that in mind, I will be giving the Book of Clarence 1.5 out of 5 stars. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And for today's comment section prompt of the day, what is your favorite movie parodying religion and why?